Hello, hello.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. And I guess since morning we've been listening to everyone extolling the virtues of poultry, and we can attest that everybody loves chicken. And it's no longer a Christmas meal, but it has become a daily meal. The poultry industry in Ghana definitely is faced with its share of successes and challenges. And we're here today to take a deep dive into the industry and figure out how best to marry solutions to challenges. And my name is Efiapia. I'm going to be your moderator for this afternoon. And with me is quite I wouldn't say an August panel, but it's quite a knowledge-filled panel that will help us explore the issues and arrive at some solutions. From right in front of me, we have Kenneth Kwame Amanfo from FDA. Then we have Philippa Mensah from the World Food Forum. Charles Bladbo from Big Stars Animal Feed. Bernard Yao Afre from Ghana International Trade Commission. Shaibu Mustafa from Gesal. And Francis Cranting from CSIR Animal Research. So everyone here is in a very strategic position in the poultry value chain. And so for starters, Bernard, can you give us an overview, a deep dive? Give us, the context in which the poultry value chain falls in agricultural sector.
Okay, so thank you, and good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for hosting me. I come from a trade agency, so my perspective would be more slanted towards issues of trade. As you've earlier articulated, poultry and poultry products are no longer seasonal delicacies. In the days and years gone by, we would have to wait until it was Easter or Christmas or when there's a family deba before you have a taste of chicken. But here we are, 2024, and virtually every home, you have fast food, you have restaurants, and you name it, all using poultry to produce one food or another. So in perspective, poultry is no longer only an agricultural produce, but it's also an internationally tradable good or product. In that case, talking about trade, as we speak, looking at the data available, the level of imports, it's accounting for more than 80% of what we consume in Ghana. And that is the sad reality. Our local producers are only able to do just close to 20%. And if I go more specific, the total consumption for Ghana as we speak in 2023 is over 380,000 metric tons. To put it into further perspective, here we are talking averagely 190 million birds, live birds. That's even a conservative figure. So imagine in a particular year, Ghana is consuming 190 million birds. It means the consumption is really, really high. And so that's the market. Ghanaians love chicken, and I am also included anyway. And it's good that this program has been instituted, and pardon me, it's my first time here, but I understand this is the 4th edition, and I must say kudos to the organizers. And I believe that we are gathered here as a means of elaborating on how local production can be enhanced so that we don't have to always rely on imported products. So these are my preliminary remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernard. You know, I saw a lady walking by in a T-shirt at the back said, "Eats Ghana chicken." And one of the prevailing discussions that goes on is the amount of imported poultry products we have on our market. And definitely that is a challenge to our local producers. I'm going to hand it over to Shaibu. If you can give us an overview of our local, our domestic production and our import.
Right, thank you very much, Bernard. I will build on what Bernard said earlier. So if we look at our imports, in Ghana, we are doing about 13.7 per capita consumption, above the average of African consumption of 6.2. So it means that Ghana is doing well. South Africa is doing about 39%, 39 kilo per head. So if you do the permutation, the computation, you realize that we import over 80 to 90% of what we consume. So therefore, out of this 13.7, about 12 kilos is an imported one. So we consume less of what we produce in this country. There are a gamut of issues and challenges. One has to do with how competitive our poultry production has been, and also the imports. If we look at the import price with ours, the difference is about 67% compared to the locally produced ones. So it all boils down to the costs involved. And we all know that feed is an important component, about 80% of that. And within this 80%, maize also constitutes about 80% of the feed we produce. And other ingredients we add to the maize, the soya, the antibiotics, and the premix are mostly imported. Now, so this shows that the position of maize in poultry production is an important one. Now, what has been the relationship between the promotion of poultry with promotion of maize? That has not been clearly linked. And in terms of our productivity, on average, over 5 years, we're doing about 2.48 tons per hectare. That is our productivity. You compare with countries like South Africa, they are doing about 5.5, Brazil, because I'm looking at the developing countries we can compare, or not to talk about US, they're also doing in the region of 6 tons per hectare. So you can see, so far as our productivity level is low, the maize production will also be low, so therefore the prices will be high. What goes into that? Farmers and everybody, we are all rational business people. So if the input into your production cost is higher, but your yield is lower, at the end of the day, you have to increase the price to compensate for the lower yield. So therefore, maize prices are going to be high. Looking forward, soya has also been promoted, but there's a bit of missing link between maize and soya production. We all know soya is not directly added to the maize as a protein content. You have to extract the oil, use the meal or the cake to do that. But what is the position of our processing of soya to extract the oil so as to get the meal and the cake to provide the protein content? That has also been low. So there's a whole lot of issue we have to look at. we usually look at access to finance and other things. There is access, but the accessibility is the issue. We have to look at it holistically. The policy environment, the regulatory environment has to be looked at. So the poultry solution should be taken with system thinking, a holistic one, so as to solve the problem of competitiveness. In that sense, the trade issue can also come in. So far as we know, it's a data issue. How much of the local production do we produce? So if there is intervention in terms of the trade policy to reduce the input, to the import, what gap are we looking at that policy closing? The data issue is also important. So let's look at the fundamentals. When we get the fundamentals right, we can solve the problems.
Yes, definitely. And you know, it's interesting when we look at the data, you see that, as you mentioned, 12 or 13 kilograms per capita. So that means every single person here in Ghana eats 13 kilograms of chicken a year. So that is quite a lot of chicken. And, you know, jokingly, we say that if 100 women go to the market, 95 of them buy imported chicken, and 5% of them buy locally grown chicken. So there definitely is a disparity in the purchasing power towards poultry. But I must ask, Francis, and maybe you can help us here, do they taste the same?
No. First, thank you for having me. The local chicken tastes better than the foreign chicken. In that, the local birds are either kept intensively or in the run system. And in these systems, they are exposed to foreign materials, forages, that add taste to the meat. So if you go to the market and you buy a frozen chicken, an imported chicken, and you also go to our women in the market and they slaughter a locally produced chicken, if you taste, the taste will never be the same. Ours are better than theirs.
Well, definitely that is a ringing endorsement for locally produced chicken. But, you know, it's interesting when we look at what our challenges are. And I'm coming straight to you, Charles. What our challenges are to get the healthy, delicious chicken, you need the right feed. So where is this lack of commitment?
Thank you very much. I would want to answer the question in two folds. Policy and action and drive by the private sector. As a company, let me use ourselves as an example. I think Doc rightly said that there is a huge disparity in terms of the raw materials used and what is grown. And as a company, we have taken it upon ourselves to enter into the growing phase. The value chain will be incomplete if companies do not get on board. So what we have decided to do is to enter into the growing phase, whereby we also support the existing maize industry. So we are also growing maize to support the gap that is in there. We are also processing soya to extract the oil and then use the cake for production. So competitively, we are, let me say, the most competitive feed in the market because of our involvement directly or indirectly. The other thing which I want to talk about is policy. If we do not have commitments from our stakeholders who are in authority to enforce laws that would help the local industry thrive, we will just be having knee-jerk, situations. So yes, we may be able to produce maize, produce soya, but if policy doesn't support us, what we will do will be in vain. Now, he also raised the yield issue. I think we have enough arable lands to give us the yield that we want. And the acceptable yield is between 5 to 6 tons per hectare. So once we're able to identify the areas where we can have this production to derive the yield, we'll be able to do something for ourselves. Coming back to your question, the feed industry is primarily set up to produce quality and also to ensure that the birds receive the required nutrition for optimum growth. As a company, we have over the years been liaising with the FDA, the CSR, FRI, and then also the ARI to ensure that the feeds that we produce meet standards. And here in Ghana, we do have standards. The challenge is that regulatory bodies don't follow up on some of these companies to ensure that standards are adhered to. So what we ensure is that whatever feed we produce at our end meets standards, and it's also very competitive, and we enable poultry farmers to be able to produce at a competitive rate and also sell at a competitive rate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles. You know, it gets complex and complex as we go on. But as Shaibu said, the difference in prices, is it 65%? 67%. So you have to make a choice. Do you want to buy 1 CD local or 67 CDs domestic produced?
All right. So it comes back to the production of raw materials such as maize and soya. And that is why I indicated that, yes, our statistical services may assist us in collecting data of areas geographically inclined to the production of these raw materials. If we have that data, it will help us. For us as a company, we have to spend millions of Ghana cedis to our front planes to run soil tests to ensure that we can actually have production of maize in that area. And currently we are looking at 2,000 metric tons for the pilot project. We have projected that by 2027, we should be doing a minimum of 18,000 metric tons. So once we have the data in place, work can, commence. Thank you.
I understand 80% of the feed is the maize.
That is true.
So once we are able to solve the maize conundrum, we
are good to go.
We're good to go. Okay.
Good to go.
But then when you look at the price disparity between the domestic and the imported produce, it raises the question of equity. As in, do we want to continue importing? Do we want to continue making it affordable? Or we want to go straight domestic production and do like the Nigerians where we close our market to imports? Where do our human rights come into play when we want to look at how best to make it accessible to everyone? Philippa.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking at equity, we will talk about the importance of having all-inclusive, engaging our women in agriculture. What can we do so that we also play a part in it? There are so many factors that prevent us when it comes to equity in agri. Access to land, let me put it this way, our social-cultural practices, decision-making, access to loan, and other factors prevent us from taking active part in agriculture. And surprisingly, when you get to our rural areas, you see that more women are into agriculture. But it's very sad to know that these women are seen as laborers. They are not even paid. The household feel that they are also playing a part. And so when it comes to agriculture, women are really relegated to the background, and it's not really helping. So the World Food Forum, Ghana chapter, we are in to support our women, serve as advocates, and also let them know that there are things that they can do. We have, they also have a support system they can join cooperative to have access to loan. So by so doing, we get our women taking part in agriculture. And we believe that when that happens, although we won't be able to supply all the poultry products, but at least we'll feel that we are part of the development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Philippa. I'm going to touch on something that Charles mentioned. And, he said, yes, Ghana, we have standards. And then he threw a little shade on the regulatory bodies. So definitely, I'm sure Kenneth has something to say in response to that.
Okay. A very good afternoon to Madam Moderator and then everyone. Let me use this opportunity to also thank AgriHouse Foundation and its partners for giving us this platform. I brought people from the length and breadth in this country, so thank them very much. I think I would just give a brief overview when people say FDA, FDA, FDA. First of all, let me say this. Food that we consume or any FDA-regulated product that you use is not supposed to be endured. It's supposed to be enjoyed. So when you are eating food, food must be enjoyed but not endured. Even the bird, the animals too, when they are eating their feed, they need to enjoy it but not endure it. So Food and Drugs Authority, just an overview, is a national regulatory body or authority mandated to regulate food. When I say food, the feed aspect is also there. Then the drugs, veterinary medicines, cosmetic, and then household chemicals, and then medical device and tobacco products. But specifically today we'll be talking more about the food. So when I say food, the feed aspect or the component is also embedded in there. So to do this, we don't do it by ourselves. We do it in collaboration with other governmental bodies and then private institutions as well. So to talk today is a day that they are advocating for it to be accepted or acknowledged as a poultry day, a Ghana Poultry Day or something. So don't put it that way. So poultry, where do FDA comes in? What role? What is our interest when we talk about the poultry value chain? I will take you from where my brother, who is a feed miller, or let me put it that way, or has a feed, who is operating a feed manufacturing facility. They have a role to play when it comes to the poultry value chain. Because the feed, if the birds are there or the poultry doesn't get the feed, it will not survive. And then the veterinary medication that my brother also mentioned, it also comes in. So all these are like raw material or inputs that is used in the production of the poultry specifically. So FDA, what is our interest? The feed, he rightly mentioned, we need, the focus is once it's going to be given to the bird or the animal, whatever it is, there's a standard for it. And it is our responsibility to enforce and ensure that the standard of the industry, they meet it. And then the veterinary medication, it needs to be registered by the authority before you can go and then use it on the birds. So that is the role we play when it comes to, let me say, quote unquote, the raw material. Then the production itself, which is the poultry farm. It is, I rightly mentioned, we don't do this on our own or by ourselves. We do it in collaboration with other institutions. The production of the poultry or the bird or the licensing of the poultry farm is done by Animal Production Directorate. They are responsible for that. We have a national food safety policy, so each agency has its role that it plays when it comes to the food value chain. So they see to the licensing of the facility. Then when the birds are ready and it's going to be slaughtered, then the Veterinary Services Directorate also comes in there to also inspect whether the birds and everything is healthy. They look at the health aspect. So slaughtering, veterinary services come in there. Then after the slaughtering is done, they have the carcass. FDA comes in there again because there's a process. They are going to process the carcass. We need to ensure that the facility, all the necessary things, they comply to the good manufacturing practices. When the storage of the carcass or the bird that is dead, that they have slaughtered, is also in there. We look into it. Then when you are going to transport it, the van that you are supposed to use, the code van, FDA by law is supposed to license the van as well before you transport it. So, in a nutshell, that is the role we play in along the value chain. Then the product that comes from the chicken or the broiler, let me see the layer. Okay, the layer gives eggs. So the egg too, there should be a pack house for it to store. FDA comes into license. We do it in collaboration with local government, environmental health officers, and all those things. So in a nutshell, that is the role FDA play in the value chain. So coming to my brothers, they say about enforcement and standard. Feed, it's compulsory that anyone who is producing feed should regularize their operation with the Food and Drugs Authority. And there are a couple of them that we have licensed their facility, and then we have also registered the product. And let me say this, food safety is everybody's business. It is not only FDA. Certain times we get it wrong when we think it's only the authority that must ensure that food is safe. It's everybody's business. This month, it's the World Food Safety Day. Even the team is prepared for the unexpected. So it's everybody right from the value chain to the end. The farmer who is growing the maize must ensure that the maize, the raw produce that he's using to produce the feed, meets up to standard. What's the moisture content of the maize? Is it up to standard? Because once it's more, storage condition will be affected, aflatoxins level. So we look into all these things to ensure that the food is safe. So we should understand that it is all of us our responsibility. Not to say FDA is not taking, we are the lead agency when it comes to that, and we've always been doing it. But there are few challenges. But we need to work hand in hand with industry for them to appreciate what we are doing, for us to also appreciate, sensitize them, and then we all get to the same level. So I think I will leave it here, and then we take it.
But before you leave it here, I have to ask you one question.
Okay.
When all the imported chicken is coming in, are you also at the port to ensure that it is safe for consumption?
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I think I have the opportunity. I've worked at the port for about 7-8 years, specifically with the reefer yard terminal. Anybody who has worked there will understand that is where all the imported frozen items, which is both the fish and the meat, and then some storage, some of the medications that are used also come in reefer. We inspect it. There are officers currently on the grounds, and we do this not even only FDA, the veterinary services are also there. We do this in collaboration with them. We inspect, we take samples. There's a lab. We have a lab at the port that we take samples, we sample, and then we take it there to test to ensure that the product that is coming, particularly if it's imported poultry product or the chicken or whatever it is, it's safe for consumption. We do that, and we do the sampling and testing. We even take it some to even atomic for them to test for radiation contamination test. If a certain time they use some radiations, is it within the acceptable limit? We look at for veterinary drug residues as part of the standard that we enforce, that before it comes in, it should be that, and the product must be registered. So that is done, and the guarantee is there that anything that comes in through the port, and once FDA is aware and sees it, the right thing is done to ensure we are safe. Because food is supposed to be enjoyed but not endured. Thank you.
So you assure us of the biosecurity and disease control measures as related to all our reports?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Shaibu, I'm going to come back to you and touch on one of the key challenges of the poultry industry and to finance. So would introduce yourself to us and tell us how we're looking at.
Thank you very much. I was waiting for the next round to look at it. My sister mentioned lending, that is access to loan. It sit directly with us. What triggered establishment of GESA is one of these importation. So we're looking at reversing the high import of what we can equally produce here. So therefore, targeting the import substitution agenda. So the So GESA was established and started operation in 2019. We all know, since even primary school, agriculture is risky, agricultural finance is risky. Yes, it is risky. Some are perceived risks, some are real risk. So that is the mandate of GESA to direct agricultural financing in order to increase lending to the sector. So that is what we're doing. So we do that basically on 3 legs or 4. The basic one has to do with the credit risk guarantee we provide to banks, because the view is that banks are reluctant to give loans to the agricultural sector. So how do we incentivize them, increase their appetite to the sector? So the credit risk guarantee is there to increase their appetite to give more loans to the sector. But giving the loan to the sector also means that the poultry farmer or actor within the poultry industry should be able to qualify for loan from the financial institutions, because it takes 2 to tango. The access is there. That's why earlier I said that the access is there, but the accessibility is the issue. This is from experience we had around 2020. Government was looking at import substitution issues where affordable loan is made to poultry and soya, rice, and tomato, soya value chain actors thanks to the previous minister at 9.5%. And you'll be surprised that we receive over 20 applications, 5 qualified, and the 5 are within the rice value chain. So what is the problem? As my colleague mentioned, it is the policy. The policy environment, the business environment is an issue. So as part of our mandate also, beyond the credit risk guarantee we provide technical assistance services to both the banks and the agribusinesses. We help them understand the nitty-gritties of agriculture, because if a financial institution has a perceived risk in agriculture, we help through our trainings and also mentorship, hands-on training. We work with them, we work together with them so that they learn how to analyze agricultural applications. We are able to remove the perceived risk while the real risks are managed, because if you have full knowledge, you are able to manage. And there is also issue of asymmetric information, where the banks do not understand what the agribusiness need, and the agribusiness do not know what the banks require for them to qualify for the loan. So we try to solve all these things. And going beyond, one of our activity is also policy and advocacy initiatives. We are also trying to inform policy, push policy issues, so that the business environment will thrive and make it easy because we are of the view that even if you have 0 interest rate and the business environment isn't there, you can't generate money to be paid the principal. So that has been a critical issue we've been looking at. We have worked with GITC on this. We were trying to see how to increase competitiveness of the local chicken, and then also investigate if there is issue of dumping here. But it involves a lot of technical issues. That is why I say we have to go to the fundamentals. To be able to do that, it should be based on scientific methodology. But where is the data? Where is the information? During our deliberation, it became clear that it isn't a matter of funding, but it's the business environment. The president of Poultry Association clearly mentioned that. So how do we make the environment good? So GESA has been at the forefront trying to look at that. Going back to South Africa, when you mentioned about women and other smallholder things, so the other thing also is, what are we looking at? The production system. Are we looking at large scale versus small scale? We wouldn't do away with the small scale, but how do we commercialize maize production to increase the yield, make it available so that the feed price will go down? When you take, for instance, the South African poultry master plan, they have a deliberate policy for the black population and women, targeting the smallholder aspect, while the commercial aspect is managed. So for maize production, the areas where we have the black population and women issues, the small industry or the small scale is being supported, while the commercial ones are also supported. If you look at the average maize production in South Africa, that is when you average it, some of the commercially oriented provinces are doing as far as 14 tons per hectare. That is way, way, way above what Ghana wants to achieve. So there should be a deliberate attempt to see, okay, what we want to do poultry, for the poultry sector, right? For the poultry sector. So if there's going to be a disaggregation of the maize, we are looking at yellow corn going to poultry. Or even within the white maize. My boss and I were having some discussion on the sorting, the grading. Imagine competing with high-grade maize, grade A, that can be used for industrial purpose, for food consumption. A poultry farmer is competing with that. The price is high. But if there is sorting, the grade A go to food production, the grade B or C go to poultry, you realize that the price level will be lower. But we jump everything together. So we are competing with the poultry. And it is not surprising, because one of the proxy to know whether a country is developed or not is the percentage of cereals and grains you have in your food. If you are a developing country, your cereals will be higher than your protein and vegetables. But knowing this, there should be a deliberate action to disaggregate the maize availability. We have a research man here. Climate change has been an issue. The weather, the heat, feed consumption, and conversion ratio of feed is a function of the weather. The higher the temperature, the lower the bird will consume. So therefore, it's going to affect your production and the cycle. Because poultry, you're looking at doing 5 cycles in a year at a particular weight. So if the poultry, the bird is not able to consume the quantity that is required, you won't get the target weight you want. So we should also look at the housing, how to adapt and mitigate the rising temperature in the country.
Thank you very much, Shaibu. And I know we'd like to throw it, oh, it's a policy issue. We need some policy change. What policy in particular are we talking about? For me, if import tariffs are so high that the import and produce is the same produce, then maybe that would help our local, that might help the competitiveness, wouldn't it?
Okay, let me address that, because it sits rightly with what my commission has been established to do. As the International Trade Commission, our main focus is to enhance the competitiveness of local industry, and the poultry industry is one of it. Yes, we initiated a strategic plan with stakeholders, including GESAL, the banks, the Ghana Association of Banks. I mean, all the players across the value chain. The reason that we often get the reports, and I say so because even the Association of Farmers approached the commission. And basically the point is, why don't you ban the whole thing? Why don't you slap 200% tariffs on this. The aspect of pricing is in international trade, it's what we call dumping. And in this case, it's so clear that from the evidence available, the price of the goods are being dumped. The products, the poultry products are being dumped. But the danger is that you don't just slap tariffs when you don't have the capacity to fill that vacuum that will be created. So, for instance, if we restrict the imported products, as I mentioned, about 80% is imported. If we slap the tariff and it goes to, let's say, 60%, is the local producers ready to fill up that 20% gap so that we don't have artificial shortages in the market? We don't create confusion in the trade environment. This is the fundamental question. And so the Commission was working with all these stakeholders with the intention of creating a master plan. And as Mr. Shaibu did mention, South Africa has done the same, and Egypt has also done the same. The key point is that we must not wait until the local producers will get to a level where it's virtually extinct. It is a danger. It is a cause for food security. COVID made it clear when our borders were closed and all that. So are we going to wait till we have to rely always on imports? No. We need to go all out, tackle the issues head on. But we need the concerted efforts of all the players, from the day-old chicks. The complaint we received when we were doing engagement was that the mortality rate of the day-old chicks. And so even people try to import from Europe. The same Europe are the ones who are contributing to more than 50% of the import. The same Europe is where you are going for your day-old chicks. So if they decide not to sell the day-old chicks to you, what do? You are left vulnerable. So from the day-old chicks to the hatchery level, to the biosecurity aspect of it, the feeds, all aspects has to be really tackled head on. And we are committed as a commission that when we have the concerted effort of all the stakeholders, we are hopeful that we can, as a policy agency, we are under the Ministry of Trade. And so we believe that when we are able to do that plan, we can engage policymakers, and policymakers, the Ministry of Trade, to be able to bring up a very robust plan that can tackle this big variation between the local production and the import. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's good to know we are not operating in a vacuum. In addition to our regulators, we have some good policies that are in place. And unfortunately, our representative from MOFA was not able to join us. But there are some. I found it interesting that there is a broiler revitalization project to end imports in 5 years. And Charles, you're laughing like you don't believe it, but definitely there's some strategies in place to at least work towards the dream of not having that huge disparity, 95% imported versus 5% domestically produced.
Let me just do a bit, and then I'll defer to Shaibu on that. Yes. When you look at the data, I'm always talk about data because, as you say, book don't lie or data don't lie. The downtrend started from 2003. So that's about 2 decades ago. And, local production was having 60%, even up to 70% of the market. But from 2003, the interests of importers grew, and they found the niche market for poultry. And so from 2003, there's been various interventions. You can just imagine. At some point, there was this broiler revitalization project. At some point, the customs level of the duties had to be raised to 35%. And when I say 35%, that is the allowable duties under the ECOWAS Common Standard Tariff. We call it CET. 35% meaning it is the highest. And it's placed on strategic products. And poultry has been there. But yet still, the thing is moving on. So it means that we now have to do what we call anti-dumping duties. And that is what South Africa did. South Africa went as much as imposing 167% on imports from Brazil. And so, yes, whilst doing all these tariff measures and so many interventions, we need to make sure that it is not going to be just the talk show. I mean, yes, there's a new project which, I mean, MOFA will be in a better position to speak about that. But they've mentioned that every year going to have 40,000 metric tons of broilers and all that. I mean, it looks nice, but what are we doing? Are the feed millers, they are looking for land to have the maize. What are we doing to arrest the situation of volatility of the prices of maize? What are we doing to reduce the competition between human consumption and the poultry request or what they desire? These are, I mean, if we just say that we
There are
need
policy issues, eh?
I mean, it should not just be saying that 40,000 metric tons a year, oh, by the end of 5 years, we will have done 200 and something metric tons. It looks so nice. We may wait, and the next 5 years, we'll be there and singing the same song. I'm sorry to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, Shaibu, before you jump in, there was a follow-up question. With the current Forex problems, the tariffs are, well, the tariffs are still high, imports are still high. Is there something we are not getting?
Yes. So, as you mentioned, the lowest you get about, that is the tariff about 35%. So, at this even higher rate, chicken is imported at a lower cost compared to what we produce here. So it's all policy issues. Because when you mentioned the policy is an intention, but how to the implementation is the issue. How is it implemented? Because you have the policy, you need to meet maybe CADEP requirements, do your policy, do your medium-term policy document. So it's a CADEP thing you take, but implementing it is another thing. So with this, it means there is issue. FDA, yours is different. But is there an under-invoicing somewhere? Do we, because why this is visible if you look at the amount of chicken we import, the data we have, compared to what US churn out. And even to go beyond that, if you do the direct import data, it is very low. But if you do the mirror data, that is the exporting country reporting what they have exported to this country, it is higher. So what is the problem? No, I'll come to that. So that is where the policy issues are. That goes to affect the price. Because really, if we want to follow, though Europe, the CAP policy, the agri policy, subsidize feed production and other things. That one is there, but not to the extent of the price difference going beyond 50%. So we ourselves, there is weakness somewhere which we have to look at. So if you take the value chain, the process, from feeding to storage and processing, now you want to, for convenience, for instance, you want to get a chicken to consume. You are busy, or the cost of production of buying the full chicken, you can't afford that. Maybe you need some part to do your fufu for the evening. You'll be forced to buy the full one, but the foreign one comes in cuts. But this one comes in full. So how are you going to do that? And even the one prepared here, you still buy and you still have some feathers on it. So the quality issue. I'm buying, and we should also forget that we are price sensitive. There is an issue between food security and food safety. Which one comes first? So if you can't afford and what is available meet your budget, you go for it. And it is accessible and easy for you to use. So the policy intent is there, but the implementation is. So the fundamental is the data. On what data was that projection made? The data is not, may not be, I will not say it is not. It may not be right.
Okay, so thank you very much. I've listened to a lot, and I have to come in as a researcher. What I know is that all these challenges that we are discussing here, they are not new to us. I believe that right from JHS through secondary school, first degree, second degree, I've read all these challenges. But what is the cause? The prime is that we are lacking the will to effect changes and then to do the right thing. This high feed price and all the challenges that we are facing, these have been facing us all this while. And as a nation, we have institutions that must work to effect changes. And CSIR, Animal Research Institute, is one of those institutions. But I've heard the policymakers talk, I've heard the regulator talk, and nobody mentioned research. But the truth is that if policies are made and the policies are regulated, those policies must be tested. And one of us asks of data. Who will give the data? It is the researcher. So if you make the policy and the regulator makes sure that the things that are coming in are of quality, and the researcher is allowed to carry out the research and look at the effect of those policies or those inputs that we are bringing in are making good impact on the birds that we are keeping, then farmers should not go out of business. One thing also we should know is that we talk about climate change. The conditions here are different from what are outside there. So if we leave what we do here and we want to copy what is done outside, we will affect them here, but the changes may not be so much. So what I want to say is that let us remember the researchers also. So that when we are making the policies, let's invite the researchers. Because we are working with the farmers. We know the problems. If I'm to list the challenges that farmers are facing now here, as a researcher, maybe people will say that we are lacking a lot. So research should be the key target if we really want to improve our chicken production. If you want to permit me, one of the challenges that our farmers are facing, I mean the small-scale farmers are facing, is that our agricultural lands are being industrialized or urbanized. And so a farmer goes to a very remote area to go and then establish his farm, try to clear the road to the place, get light and water to the place. Then when the business starts booming, a rich man from US or wherever comes to build one house, another person comes, and in 2, 3, 5 years' time, the person is asked to leave the place. And if he also tries to use his powers, then they go to court. And who will win? The rich man. You see, so a lot of things are happening that if our agencies are able to collaborate very well and work effectively, things should be changed. So I believe that if I'm given the chance to talk, this one I'm not giving the chance, I'm just making a contribution. If I'm given the chance to talk again, I'll also highlight some of the challenges that our farmers are facing and some suggestions and research technology that we have developed to help our farmers. If I'm given the nod, I'll be able to highlight some of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francis. You know, I was going to put you on the spot and ask you, what research has CSIR done to support and enable the poultry industry? So yes, we are giving you the opportunity. We are giving you 3 minutes to enlighten us on that.
All right, so like I said earlier, we are in the tropical area. And so if we are going to improve or increase productivity, we need to use birds that are acclimatized or were acclimatized to our locality. So we have the aribro, that's the animal broiler chicken, that is doing well under our locality. Feed cost. One thing that we should know is that man's competition for feed or for feed ingredients will never stop. It is even going to increase. It's increasing. So whilst we are trying to find ways to increase feed production, we should also find ways to make efficient use of the maize that our farmers, or the feed that our farmers produce. So we have come out with technologies, probiotics, that can enhance digestibility in our birds. We also have developed least cost feed. And then we also have least cost feeding regimes. In the morning, I said that if you are keeping a layer or layers, and the layer gets to 17 or 18 weeks and start laying, the eggs that you get at that stage are not sellable because they are pullet eggs, very small in size. But we see our farmers giving them the layer mash. So we thought it wise that we should segment the feeding at that stage. We have the pre-lay, so that we reduce the protein and other ingredients there, so that at least the farmer can make some savings there and push the birds into the major or the peak laying season. And even at the peak laying season, after, say, week 45 and above, laying automatically will drop because of age. And so do you have to continue feeding your birds the layer mash and they will give you less? No. So we have also come out with feeding regimes with different compositions that can reduce cost at that stage too. We have, with issue of litter management, to avoid this eviction of poultry farms from areas, we also have come out with a technology that we are calling the indigenous microorganisms that can be used to reduce stench and to manage litter. If you use it on the litter will not get wet early, microorganisms will not grow in there, the issues of ammonia is going to be dropped, and those microorganisms will also help in digestion. So you see that the feed that you are giving, the feed is going to be well digested, and the animal will give you the best. So there are so many things that are going on in animal research, but I want to blame the farmers. Well, it's like they are afraid of animal research. The story is, what are the researchers doing? We are doing a lot, but we don't want to implement what we are doing locally. We want to copy what the whites are doing, but it will take effect with time. So we are pleading, farmers, come to us, policymakers, come to us, so that we can collaborate and make good things that will help our farmers improve their poultry industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francis. Yes, one of the objectives of this panel was to identify the linkages that stakeholders could establish to improve the poultry industry. And definitely, we would love to see more of the research that CSIR has put out, linking you with feed millers like Charles, and making sure that there's enough financing for this industry from GESAL. And definitely, maybe your visibility is not that much, because you're mentioning some things that I think are very, very, very inspiring. So maybe we should look at putting more of your research into the public domain so that it can be more utilized than reports on a bookshelf.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are advocating for. Yeah, because that is the mandate of CSIR. So if the challenges are there and it's like there are no solutions, then it means the institute is not working. But we are doing much. And you know, it is not how do I call it, a money-making institute. So we can't go out on our own. We need funding. So we can go out and then yeah, so that we can go out and exhibit our product, like this event today. If we're giving a stand, it would have been good for us, but we are just invited to come and talk. We will do the talking and go back. Secondly,
Maybe there has to be some policy change so that CSIR can also change its mandate to going into the public, making your research known so that you become more relevant in the value chain.
yeah, I believe so. What is happening is that the international agencies, they are rather rely on CSIR, and they are making things better there, and they are dumping them on us. Okay, as I speak, there's an international agency that is sponsoring us to find alternative feed resources. And when we do these things, they request for the report. We send to them, and they take it away and go and use. Meanwhile, I can't remember the last time a government official visited ARI. Maybe that was 2 years ago when our lands were being seized and the parliamentarians came. So we are begging, let them come to us, the policymakers, visit us, let us showcase our products so that you know what we are also doing.
Okay, so Kenneth has a last something to say, and I would like to remind you that the session has been live on Facebook at AgriHouse Foundation.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I think during the submissions, there were a few things that I picked up. I just wrote down. I think when he was talking, he mentioned the feathers on the birds and all those things. You see, I will repeat this again. Food safety is all of us our business. There are so many ways of regulating such non-conforming practices in the public domain. The enforcement is one aspect. The education is there. And then among ourselves, we are consumers. I'm a regulator sitting here. When I go out there to the market to buy something, I'm also a consumer. So when something is going on and it's not right, and we know it, let us educate the people. That is it. And then the sensitization bit is also there. So as part of effort for FDA to help with this thing, there's a policy, the PLS, which is Progressive Licensing Scheme, that we are doing this with GA, Ghana Enterprise Agency. It's a government policy that has come. Always we want to identify problems, but certain time we don't want to give recommendation or take the bull by its horn to fix the problem. So that issue has been there. We are doing this with the help of MasterCard Foundation and everything. There's a project that is sitting with the GEA and the FDA with our chief executive. Both of them has collaborated and is helping solve or minimize those and then possibly be eradicated. So those small scale, micro cottages, micro scale enterprises, you see certain time the capital is not there. So they want to do the right thing. Maybe common hand washing station, they don't even have it. Common dustbin, they don't even have it. But with this help, it's helping them some way or the other curb or manage these food safety issues that are there. So let me say that is one of the things that we are doing. And registering such product in the poultry, which is the bird or the carcass, if they want to register, it's for free. Our registration, locally manufactured product, registering is cheap as 150 Ghana cedis. And even if it's even in your kitchen, which it falls within the progressive licenses, it's so cheap. We will come and ensure, like a baby about to walk. It will crawl for some time, even before it will talk, it will do ta-ta-ta. So we've come to understand that it is not always just regulating the big boys at the top there, but most of us eat from the street. So we need to come to that level and ensure that food at that level, with the help of the progressive licensing scheme, we come. Personally, I go to people's rooms that are starting up small businesses. And then when they do it at the rate we rate them. When you're able to get about 35 to, I think 50%, we give you a score with a color coding system. When you give, we give you pink. When you do well, we give you yellow. When you do another form, so we give you green. Before we come and elevate you to the bigger level, not to say, when we don't compromise on safety. We don't compromise on it at all. But we need to help grow the local industry. In as much as the president's vision is to ensure that local industry grows so that we can also compete with the imported one. It will help us also have this inflation we are all talking about. In case this industry is growing very well and people have come to, he has mentioned, you go and buy the full chicken. But if we are able to get it in smaller pets, maybe you want the chicken thigh, you want the wings and everything, it will help people to also buy from that side. But because the person doesn't have it in the smaller pet, he will go and buy the imported one. And then all these challenges will be there. So as part of the effort, the progressive license scheme is solving that problem and still work in progress. Not to say that we have arrived. We've not arrived. That is, and then the issue of the duty that he mentioned, the data and all those things. FDA, our focus is safety. And we work with other agencies there. We don't do this by ourselves. The Ghana Revenue Authority, SEPS is there. They are in charge of revenue. So they see to the accounting, blah, 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 whatever. But our focus when we are doing a joint inspection is to ensure that the product that is coming in is safe. Anything about duty is the responsibility of Ghana Revenue Authority to ensure, which is responsibility of the SEPS division. That is it. And then I think I have another one to also mention. He also mentioned the regulators and then other bodies, institutions to visit them. But I believe that it should be a two-way. When you also do your research, and we've been doing this with them because as part of the National Food Safety Policy, they are part of the committee, the technical working group. CSR is part of the committee. So it's something that has been done. There's a rep on that committee because I've been going for meetings and I know the woman who is on. I don't want to mention her name. So that communication, FDA is trying very hard to bring all agencies on board. So we don't work in isolation. Veterinary services, the PPRSD is there, the plant protection, they are all there. We at MOFA, Women are Greek. She just spoke about it. They are the directorate in charge of that. They are all part of this food safety. So communication issues, it's something that it is almost solved. Maybe probably it is within the institution that when the person goes for the meeting and comes back, does not channel the information to the committee, the institution he or she is representing. So the internal communication, we need to work and ensure that it flows when it comes to that. And then the global warming issue that he mentioned, as part of this national food safety policy, it will get to a point that we can't eliminate it completely, but we may reduce it. It will get to a point that we are going to register MOFA is in charge. This responsibility along the food safety policy is to ensure that they have to register farmers. Every district, any farmer who is producing anything should be registered. So that in case they're even exporting and there's a problem, we can trace and know the exact land that even the produce was cultivated. So before your farm is even registered, there's a requirement that I understand they are developing a guideline for that. They will look at it that you are not going into the forest reserve and cultivate, because all this deforestation and waste management, unnecessary producing unnecessary fumes, they contribute to the global warming. So as part of the national food safety policy that we are implementing, it's work in progress. Before they even give you the license or register you, they ensure that you are not just doing, you are contributing or you are complying to the good agricultural practices. Not just entering the forest reserve, destroying it, using unnecessary chemicals we're not supposed to, pesticide residue, you are not complying to the harvesting interval and all those things. The dose they are using. So we are helping to ensure that this has been done. So my challenge is, let us identify the problem, but let us ensure that let's look beyond just our institution. Look at, if you have to visit the regulator, The concern is certain times, do you give us a fund to do the project? Why should I do the work and then bring it to you? But if we look at the bigger picture, it will help, because we have a research department as an authority now, and its responsibility is to liaise with the research institution, the university, the academia, and then the policymakers and other people to ensure that collectively this has been done. Probably it's been done, but the institution is not communicating it to their staff or to their members. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. Thank you so much. You know, I actually have been. I would like to round up the session, and but the key takeaways, as you mentioned, Kenneth, was that this is a work in progress, and we should recognize it as such. But the key issues that we have to look at is more collaboration, more communication, and being more transparent. Being more transparent, making sure that tariffs that are set are in compliance with both regional and international treaties that we sign on to. But we have to ensure that there's security, there's food security in our poultry industry. In addition to food safety, there should be food security. And there's so much more that we can discuss. There's so much more that we can converse on. But unfortunately, the chicken that was being cooked the food is ready. And it's definitely been an enlightening conversation. And we would like to thank the management of Agri House for making this possible. And we look forward to coming back next year to continue this conversation. No, we would continue the conversation after here. So next year when we come, we will come with tangible solutions and things that have been achieved. So thank you very much. And it's been our pleasure to have this conversation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. It has been insightful, and I'm sure each person has learned a thing or two from this town hall discussion. So, Mr. DJ, give us a spot of music, and then we'll be going straight to our chefs. We'll be looking at where they've gotten to. Our ministers haven't left us yet. We will be interacting with our chefs and our judges. They'll be telling us where our chefs are. And just like our moderator said, Eduanena being, yes. Some of the chicken being grilled is ready. So very soon, just the tent in front of me. For those who may not have tasted some Ghana grilled chicken before, we will be lining up to get some chicken. And then the Ghana Egg Secretariat also had some dishes, some quiche, both roads made with eggs, kosiani meko. They are down there. And the Ghana Egg Secretariat would also be doing some food demonstration. They are going to teach us how we will be able to fry eggs with water and a couple of things. So Dr. Comfort Champon is around. But we just want to move in and just have a word with our judges. Honorable Jifagomashi is around. We just want to ask her what has been her observation so far. The garnishing going, wow, me wada hat. Wow. Chef Fila, yes. Chef Michael. All right, so let's take the feedback Honorable Jifa is giving. Hello, Honorable. So Honorable is giving her feedback on some, and some questions are also being posed. Get out.
How are you?
So your observation, okay, let me leave you to taste first.
I'm impressed with the time that people used to do all of this cooking. I've tasted food table number what? This is table 5. So far, so good. But I suppose it's when I've gone to the extreme end, then I'll be ready to give my marks. Yes.
Or,
What we need now is for all of them to have plates, disposable spoons, so we can taste. I have on something. If you get that done for us, we'll appreciate it.
all right, so logistics, okay, right on time. So, please, the Deputy Minister, the two Deputy Ministers, our honorables, are here. Dr. Honorable Yao Frimpong Ado and Honorable Tuferu. Please join our Honorable Jifa Gomashi as she moves from table to table to do the tasting. Na yebo back no so see the. So, Honorable, please, if you are around. So it's food tasting time. Our chefs are done with their dishes, and it's time to taste and grade them. And we are privileged to have our dear honorables with us to join Honorable Jifa Gomashi. We also have the chairperson of the planning committee, Dr. Comfort Champon, our chief judge, Chef Michael. We also have Chef Filer, all joining us to do the tasting and the grading. All right, so my honorable decided to start from Ampesie. If you're there, please disposable bowls. Logistics, the disposable bowls. I think it's almost. All right. Okay. So we are still live at the Ghana Poultry Day, the CEO Chef competition. We are Dr. Tony Locke, co-founder, Diaspora Africa Forum. So our honorable, we want to have a taste. Hey. Yes, see, did you kasa? From a distance, I can see the Rumai. And I can see Honorable nodding the head. That's just a Koyi. Wonderful meal prepared with Ghana chicken, Ghana poultry. Beautiful. So our honorable in charge of livestock says he wants to finish it before he moves to the next. So the day is to push advocacy and drive the advocacy for consumption of made in Ghana food and cooking with made in Ghana products, especially Ghana poultry and other poultry products. So we are done with table 1, we are moving on to table 2. All right, so we are moving to table 2. Chef Cecil T. Sunkwa Mills. Let's see what Chef Cecil has. The garnishing is on point. Wow. All right. So very good recommendations for Chef Cecil. And I really do fear any fear. So the problem is how to taste the fufu. Challenge the fufu no. Okay, you compare both So Dr. Zaneto Ajuman Rollins is also up, our chief judge. So we are on table 1, 2, 3, 4. Oilless for 3. So it's still the Ghana Poultry Day. And the whole objective is to gradually get July 1 declared as Ghana Poultry Day and to drive advocacy for the consumption of Ghana poultry and poultry products. So CEO chefs who influence policies have prepared dishes, and at the medium term, we expect them to be able to influence policies so Ghana poultry will be included, even during their gifts, their corporate gifts. So Dr. Zaneto Ajuman Rollins is around. She's going to join our ministers, the Deputy Minister of Agric in charge of crops, Honorable Yao Ado, and the Deputy Minister in charge of livestock, Honorable Tuferu. So the National Farmers and Fishermen Award Winners Association, the Ogboro himself here, Mr. Apia, you are welcome. It's tasting galore. There will be something for everyone to taste. You know the trick? Wake kakra, know what I mean? Aha. Now everybody, oh yeah, we are on Musuaguso. Someone is asking if there is gobe. But your gobe and wine, a beans nambe. I can see our Honorable Minister nodding the head, yes. We are moving on to the next. So we have Honorable Hotsoji Alexander Roosevelt represented, and they really did a good work in his stead. Chef Charity Akoti, a National Best Farmer 2023. I don't say the echo fee. Wow. So we have apesi, plantain, and apesi with chicken and palava sauce with Ghana chicken. Yes, I'm told to qualify it with Ghana chicken. The National Best Farmer 2023. She doesn't only know grow the crops, but she also knows how to cook it.
me some. Give me some. We're gonna give you a hat.
Oh, well, chicken palava sauce. No beef, nothing. Aha. Great. We are not done. There are a lot of activities lined up as well. And a lot of prizes to be won. The music is be coming up. So Chef Nana. Chef Nana Okomigua from the Central Region. Chichionaze. Central Region, I want to Chichioa sign.
So what she means is that she didn't put it. Yes.
So I think once the tasting has been done by our guests, our participants, and our real guests, you can also walk through and take a bite. Please, no one should leave here without tasting something. Of Queen Khadija, Sarah Lee Oyi. All right, so grilled chicken stand, so also ready to serve our participants. So please, it's not for sale. You can also move here and have a taste of grilled Ghana chicken. So just where we have the Fortune Margarine tent, let's put ourselves together. There's free chicken. In fact, it is an error to leave here without tasting some Ghana chicken. It is a big error. There's something for everyone. There's something for everyone. Hey.
So please, the grilled chicken stand is ready. The food sampling is also ongoing. Like we mentioned, it is a crime to leave here without tasting something. So we are sampling. And please don't let us forget also, we still have our exhibitors around. I can see some so bolognese, and there are a lot of wonderful goodies by our exhibitors as well. Because it's a working day, we are going to be here till late, so those who are at their work can still join us. But once again, it is a crime to leave here without tasting something. And I can see the Ghana Egg Secretariat stand also has some eggs and egg dishes ready for us as well. Please, what's if I call what's the so? Just try and move. Yeah. So please, the food that our ministers tasted, the rest, can all sample some. So please, you can walk to any of the tables. Okay, let me start. Then people will take me serious. So please, there's something for everyone. You can visit the tables our dignitaries have been to. After they have sampled, the rest are for us.
What to expect. You have a spoon? A ladle? No, you're not supposed to hold where I'm going to use it. You're supposed to hold Can I get some tissue? Oh boy. No sense of hygiene. Your hand is all over the piece you're going to give me. You have a barbecue knife and all. Good. Thank you. You may want to start a piece of that for you. Are these just bell peppers? Are those carrots? What is it? Really? Very creative. Very creative. So it's red goes green with a black star? Yes. Sharp. 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 Really, really sharp. Very good. Am I to eat another one with the rice? Should I? The only problem here, too many teachers giving ideas. I don't know if you did it on your own or the influence was sent out. Sorry? Don't be so nervous. It's just me. I have no answer neither has she. Yeah. She could have sworn she saw a horn on my head. So you have to cut it a smaller piece. And I need to taste it as well. Actually, they set up, look. They set up and then, yeah. And it's all on the right side actually. Good. Very good. Very good. All the people enjoying me eating my food. Oh, how sure is that? Make sure you get it out of. Oh Lord. Who needs an enemy if you have a sister like this? I'm preparing you. Get me around. I can't wait. So why is that the one? Is that Ghana corn or
So, you are wow. This one, American squad is on the ball. But you are playing it here so that our corn can only stand at the wayside and show it. You can also make it as a vegetable. Clap for yourself. This is what we innovative and creative. Come from the way by the confidence on the fire. And see that's why you are created and use that for the time.
and also the chicken eat corn. Yeah? But everything they eat is also here.
You know what, how they do the chicken? What I cannot, they say they're going to do great chicken. And they do boil it first, make sure it's well cooked. You wrap it, season it, wrap it with foil, put it on the open fire to grate it. This is another number 2 creative.
Are you sure you didn't do it? Really?
Yeah. But let me tell you something. This industry, one of the years when we wanted to do home side, they think it's for the exclusive dropper. I didn't get dropper. I get where I have to go to. Some of them can go talk about chefs who have to make big impact in Ghana industry. When I see you, people don't let anybody fool you that, oh, go and do it. Follow your passion. Food is about passion. That is why my nickname is Sexy Chef. You know why? If you don't have passion for something, food is when you are preparing to put yourself in. The way you always tell people that the moment you are cooking and you do your best like it, when the food also you cook to the girls to look at the food like this. And when you are smiling, you are in your kitchen, you are smiling, you are happy and lovely. And even when you put the food on the table and it's not giving you, I know you are not married. And when you laughing, you are in the kitchen having fun. It is fun.
Okay, very good. Let's go. So, tell me about it. So this is Ghana Jollof. You should be opening, you should be opening, you should be opening. Yes? Oh, you can open it. Okay. Yes? Veggies. Yes. This is Ghana Jollof. Made Ghana rice. Ghana rice. Okay. This is chicken. Suya for the chicken. Okay. So are you serving the suya with the chicken and some of the meat or the nuts? Because the way the chicken is fried, you can put down the little suya on top of it. Take the rice, and she may not want the suya. Actually, we will use the
I just need a price. Once it gets onto my plate, I can't bring it.
Can I ask you to do this? Yeah, sure. And the far end there. Oh, there's a book there? Oh, no, we can do it. Let me just ask. We can wait for them. We started about an hour before the others. Before they came around. Okay. I like pastas as well. They are clean. They are clean. Yes. I think it's
Mbembo Floteo. Mbembo Floteo.